Welcome into the Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. Like this video if you are a huge fan of Chiefs Kingdom. If you're a part of Chiefs Kingdom, just hit that thumbs up icon. All right, how about this? Is Mecole Hardman ready to take off? Well, a report coming from Nate Taylor of The Athletic is that he has made, quote, sizable improvements this offseason, which is certainly something notable, I would say, because, hey, the first 2 years, he's been good. He's done some good things, but didn't really take a major jump from year 1 to year 2. The time is now. You're entering year 3. Sammy Watkins is gone. Mecole Hardman has every opportunity to establish himself as that number 2 wide receiver behind Tyreek Hill within this offense, and really number 3, because obviously you got Travis Kelce as well. Here's what Taylor wrote in his write-up with The Athletic recently, quote, "On offense, that player I believe was Hardman," talking about who stood out during OTAs and minicamp, "the speedy receiver who has the best opportunity to be the unit's breakout player this season. Through minicamp, it's clear that Hardman has made sizable improvements, whether it's his route running, his consistency when catching the ball, or his overall demeanor on the practice field." If Mecole Hardman broke out, that would be huge for this offense, because think about the ingredients you're already working with. Obviously, you have Patrick Mahomes. You have an improved offensive line. Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league. Tyreek Hill, most dynamic, speedy wide receiver in the league. And if a guy like Mecole Hardman can be a true number 2 receiver with his speed, with his explosiveness, how do you stop this offense? I mean, you already are borderline impossible to stop. And, oh, by the way, this team can run the football pretty well with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams as well. If Hardman takes off and takes that next step, this offense could be as lethal as we have seen in the Patrick Mahomes era. So what do you guys think? Will Mecole Hardman break out this season? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I hope it happens. I think it's now or never. If he doesn't take a big jump this year, he's probably just not just a purely gadget guy, but more of a number 3 type of receiver than a true number 2. Because you look at his first 2 years and you thought, oh, wow, rookie season. Explosiveness was on display, was a guy who was able to find the end zone. You could use him in a variety of ways, and you still used him in a variety of ways last year, but statistically didn't really take a huge jump. Obviously, he wasn't going to average 21 yards a catch again. That's an insane number, but 7 yards down, a little significant. Yardage was similar. Sure, he had more catches, was involved a little bit more, but didn't have as many big-time plays. The route running didn't really improve. But if those things have improved this year, I think that he could have a big breakout season. And the hype train has officially left the station. I mean, even the Chiefs' own account is saying, ready for takeoff, tagging Mecole Hardman. There's a little clip there of a jet just flying over Hardman's head there. Obviously, he wasn't literally under a jet. They used this thing called a green screen, which is very, very cool. If you've never heard of it, look it up. But Mecole Hardman, hey, year 3, breaking out. I hope so. Still only 23 years old. Not saying it's completely now or never, but it kind of feels that way. If he doesn't take a big step this year, the Chiefs will probably look to add a receiver next offseason, whether it's in the draft or in free agency. Now, guys, it's literally the last day of the month here in June, and hey, we had a challenge. We told you guys at the beginning of the month, I want to get the most downloads from the Chiefs Report of the Newsbreak app. Mitch is crushing us, the Raiders Report. Kudos to him. He's doing a great job. Now he's got a bigger channel, more audience. But, hey, we're in second place, and we can take home second. Or, hey, if we go crazy, maybe we can win this thing. All you got to do is plug in the link below on your mobile phone, chatsports.com/ChiefsNB. And if you're like, why would I download the app other than some competition a host on YouTube told me? Well, you actually get benefits, too. Like you can keep up with local news, weather, stories in your neighborhood, in your area, in your community, because the Newsbreak app syncs up with your zip code. So download the app today, chatsports.com/ChiefsNB. Let's try and get the most downloads of any channel this month here at Chat Sports. And if Mecole Hardman doesn't work out, well, how about John Metchie III drafting him next year? USA Today's Draft Wire did a way too early 2-round mock draft for next year, and they had the Chiefs selecting John Metchie, draft order based on the Super Bowl odds, Super Bowl 56 odds for the upcoming season. So Metchie would land in Kansas City in this scenario. And hey, this is a nice little player, man. Almost had 1,000 yards last year on a crowded offense. Now Jalen Waddle getting injured opened up opportunities for him this past year. But I think another year of John Metchie, if he, kind of ascends to being the primary player at Alabama, which is what he projects to be as their true number 1 wide receiver in 2021, he's explosive. he has the good speed and route running combo, because you see a lot of times, like, I think Mecole Hardman fit this bill a little bit. Elite speed, but is he a good enough route runner? Been a little inconsistent there. Metchie's a great route runner. Unafraid to go across the middle despite a somewhat slight frame at 6 foot, $195. And again, entering this year as Bama's #1 weapon. Obviously, they have to replace Mac Jones at quarterback with probably Bryce Young. But if he has a big year, probably going to be a first-round pick and could be a guy that you draft to be your #2 wide receiver if Mecole Hardman or someone else doesn't emerge, like a Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, or maybe even Cornell Powell. But that's why it's a big year for Hardman in Kansas City, because the Chiefs won't wait around. They'll go draft someone else and get an upgrade there if needed. Early thoughts. Name a 2022 NFL draft prospect you would like to see the Chiefs draft. Obviously, it's early. You guys probably haven't, done a ton of homework on this upcoming draft. But if there are a couple of names that come to mind, let me know in the comments who you would like to see the Chiefs target in next year's draft. Other wide receivers to keep an eye on as we, move into the fall, college football season. Watch these guys. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, the Ohio State duo. They're both fantastic. Treylon Burks is an interesting player out of Arkansas. 6'3", 225 pounds, can really run. Justin Ross out of Clemson would have come out last year but had the neck injury. Hopefully he comes back and plays well. And then Drake London, 6'5" receiver out of USC, pretty dynamic player as well. Loaded wide receiver class once again. There will be other names that emerge as well, but John Metchie is right there in the mix and could be a target for the Kansas City Chiefs, who aren't afraid to always add to their weapons of arsenal here on offense. So big year for Hardman, big year for Metchie and the other draft wide receiver targets. We'll see if one of these guys lands in Kansas City. Now let's get to 18,000 subscribers here on the Chiefs Report before the preseason. The clock is ticking. We're at 17,176. Let's keep the train moving here. Let's get to 18K as soon as possible. Chiefs videos come your way all of the time. Share that link below. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV and hit that big red button and subscribe. Everson Griffen, could he be a member of the Kansas City Chiefs? Let's talk about it here on the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Bleacher Report pretty much did a prediction article of where the top remaining free agents will sign in free agency. And lo and behold, they've got Everson Griffen signing with Kansas City. Not an every down player at this point at 33 years old, but still a guy that can give you some pass rushing value. Now, the Cowboys signed him last year and didn't play that well, which is ultimately why they ended up trading him to the Detroit Lions. Just had 2.5 sacks with Dallas in 7 games, but thought he played a little better in Detroit. 3.5 sacks, had a few more pressures as well. That seemed to be a better fit for him for whatever reason. I think over a 16 games, or 17 game slate, I should say, he's a guy that could give you 5, 6, 7 sacks potentially, and especially with Frank Clark's legal situation ongoing, I don't think that'll lead to a major suspension, but could miss a couple of games. I think Griffen could be a guy that can at least bolster your pass rush, come in on obvious passing downs, and get after the passer. Should the Chiefs sign Everson Griffen? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Get your votes in on this one. Hey, if the price is right, I say S for sign, because I think the Chiefs, regardless of Clark's situation, really could benefit from signing another edge, another true defensive end, which Griffen, his size-weight combination and just his play style, fits what Spags likes to do defensively. He likes bigger, more physical defensive ends, and that is what Everson Griffen is, which is why they brought in a guy like Taco Charlton last year, because while he hadn't had a ton of success, they thought he was a good schematic fit in this scheme, and he actually played fairly well last year. But do you want him getting a lot of snaps? Probably not. Now, remember, of note, Chris Jones will play a lot of defensive end this year, but when he's playing interior at defensive tackle, who's your other defensive end? Is it Charlton? Is it Michael Dana? I don't love your options. I think a guy like Everson Griffen you could bring in on obvious pass downs, and he's a guy that's consistently gotten after the quarterback throughout his career. 80 sacks in 11 seasons. That's pretty impressive. 9 forced fumbles. He's, not going to the Hall of Fame or anything like that, but he's one of the better pass rushers of his generation. While he's past his prime, again, I think he could give you 5 to 7 sacks if you bring him in here and give him 20, 25 25 snaps a game, and maybe he gives you a sack every third game or something like that, and creates some extra pressures as well. So we will see if the Chiefs look to add to their pass rush. I think a guy like Everson Griffen could make some sense. Obviously, we've talked about Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, a couple of other guys in the past, but Griffen, the latest name to pop up, as Bleacher Report basically predicted that he will sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. Just want to note, they're not reporting that's trending in that direction. They just took a stab at it, which, hey, we're talking about it here on the Chiefs Report. So appreciate you guys watching us. We'll be back with some more videos very, very soon. Until then, we'll see you next time.